So you're staring at your bathroom thinking about installing a new shower valve, and you're wondering if this is really something you can pull off yourself, especially with PEX pipe. Maybe you've heard it's easier than copper, but you're not totally sure where to start. Well, I've got great news. I'm going to walk you through the entire process of installing a shower valve with PEX from start to finish, step by step, in the simplest way possible. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share a pro tip about water hammer arresters that can save your valve from premature failure and save you a couple $100 in the long run. Let's get into it. Installing a shower valve with PEX is honestly one of the most beginner-friendly plumbing projects you can take on. PEX has completely changed the game for DIYers because you don't need a torch, you don't need solder, and the connections are fast and reliable. Once you understand the basics, this is a job you can knock out in an afternoon. Before we start cutting pipe and making connections, let's talk about how a shower valve actually works, because understanding this makes the whole install click. Your shower valve is basically a mixing station. It takes hot water from one supply line and cold water from another, blends them together based on where you set the handle, and sends that mixed water up to your shower head. That's it. Most modern shower valves are pressure balancing valves, which means they automatically adjust if someone flushes a toilet or runs water somewhere else in the house. That's what keeps you from getting scalded or blasted with cold water mid-shower. Now, when it comes to PEX, you've got two main types you'll see at the store: PEX A and PEX B. PEX A is a little more flexible and forgiving, which makes it great for beginners. PEX B is slightly stiffer, but works just fine too. For a shower valve, I recommend 3/4 inch PEX for your main supply lines running to the valve area, and then 1/2 inch PEX for the connections directly to the valve itself. Most shower valves have 1/2 inch inlets, so that's what you'll connect to. The brand of valve matters too. I've had great luck with Moen and Delta pressure balancing valves. They're widely available, the cartridges are easy to replace down the road, and they come with clear installation templates. Grab one that's compatible with PEX connections, and you're already ahead of the game. All right, let's talk about planning your layout and getting your tools and materials together before you touch a single pipe. This step is where most beginners skip ahead and end up backtracking, so take a few minutes here and it'll save you a lot of frustration. First, figure out where your valve is going to sit inside the wall. Standard rough-in height for a shower valve is about 48 inches from the finished floor, but check your local code, because some areas vary by an inch or two. The valve needs to be centered on the shower opening, and you want it accessible from the back if possible, either through an access panel or an open wall during new construction or a remodel. Here's your tool list. You'll need a PEX cutter, which is basically a ratcheting scissor tool that gives you a clean square cut every time. You'll need a PEX crimp tool or push-fit method, depending on which connection style you choose. I'll cover both. You'll need crimp rings if you go the crimp route, a deburring tool, a tape measure, a level, a drill with a 1-inch spade bit or hole saw for drilling through studs, copper stub out brackets or a mounting bracket that comes with your valve, adjustable pliers, a marker, and Teflon tape. For materials, grab your shower valve, enough 1/2 inch PEX to run from your hot and cold supply lines to the valve, PEX fittings that match your valve inlets, a shower arm, a shower head, and drop ear elbows for the shower head connection point. If you want the easiest possible method, grab SharkBite. Push-fit fittings. They cost a little more, but you literally push the pipe in and you're done. No special tools required. Now that you've got everything laid out, it's time to shut off the water and prep your work area. Find your main water shutoff valve. In most homes, it's in the basement, crawl space, or near the water heater. Turn it all the way off. Then go open a faucet at the lowest point in your house to drain the remaining pressure out of the lines. You'll hear the water slow to a trickle and stop. Give it a minute or two. Once the pressure is relieved, go back to your work area and open up the wall if you haven't already. If you're working on new construction or a full remodel, the studs are already exposed and you're in great shape. If you're replacing an existing valve, you'll need to cut out enough drywall to give yourself room to work. I like to have at least a 16-inch by 16-inch opening minimum. Trust me, trying to work through a tiny hole is not worth the headache. By the way, if you are finding this helpful, you should know this is just a taste of what I have put into my book, 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes That Will Save You $10,000. It covers everything from leaky faucets to running toilets, step by step with diagrams. You can grab your copy by scanning the QR code on screen right now, or just use the first link in the description below. All right, let us keep going. With the water off and your wall open, it's time to mount the shower valve. This is where that template your valve came with really pays off. Pull it out and tape it to the inside of the wall, right where you want the valve. That template shows you exactly where to position the valve body relative to the finished wall surface. This part is critical. If the valve sits too far back, your trim plate won't reach. Too far forward, and the handle won't work properly. Most valves need the front edge of the valve body set back about 1 3/16 inches from the finished wall surface, but check your specific valve's instructions because it varies by manufacturer. Use your level to make sure the template is straight, then mark your mounting holes. Your valve will either screw directly to a wooden crossbar you install between the studs, or it'll come with a mounting bracket. If you need a crossbar, cut a piece of 2x4 to fit snugly between the studs at your desired height and screw it in with 3-inch wood screws. Make it rock solid because this bracket holds the valve in place permanently. Once the crossbar is secure, hold the valve body up to it. Check your depth one more time against the template and screw it down tight. Give it a wiggle. It shouldn't move at all. Now comes the fun part, running your PEX lines. You'll be connecting a hot line and a cold line to the valve. Standing facing the valve, hot is on the left and cold is on the right. That's universal, and if you mix them up, your handle will work backwards. Not dangerous, but annoying. Measure from your existing hot and cold supply lines to the valve inlets. Add about 6 inches of slack to each measurement. PEX is flexible, but you don't want your lines pulled tight because that puts stress on the fittings. When you run PEX through studs, drill your holes with a 1-inch spade bit right in the center of the stud. Code requires that holes be at least 1 5/16 inches from the edge of the stud. And if you're closer than that, you'll need a nail plate to protect the pipe from drywall screws. I always add nail plates anyway, just for peace of mind. Cut your PEX with the ratcheting cutter. Make sure each cut is clean and square. If the end looks angled or ragged, cut it again. A bad cut means a bad connection, and a bad connection means a leak inside your wall. That's the last thing you want. All right, let's make the connections. If you're using crimp fittings, here's the process. Slide a copper crimp ring over the end of the PEX pipe about 2 inches back. Insert the brass fitting into the pipe. You'll feel it seat firmly. Now slide the crimp ring up so it sits about 1/8 to 1/4 inch from the end of the pipe, right over where the fittings barb is. Take your crimp tool, position it over the ring, and squeeze firmly until the handles close completely. That's it. One solid crimp and that connection is permanent and rated for behind-the-wall use. If you went with SharkBite push-fit fittings, it's even simpler. Mark your PEX pipe 1 inch from the end. That's your insertion depth. Push the pipe straight into the SharkBite fitting until your mark disappears. Give it a tug to make sure it locked. Done. Shark bites are great for beginners because there's virtually no way to mess them up if you push the pipe in far enough. Connect both your hot and cold lines to the valve inlets. Then on the outlet side of the valve, you'll connect your 1/2 inch PEX line that runs up to the shower arm location. At the shower head connection point, you'll use a drop ear elbow. This is an elbow fitting with a mounting flange that screws to a crossbar inside the wall. Install another 2x4 crossbar between the studs at about 80 inches off the finished floor for a standard shower head height. Screw the drop ear elbow to the crossbar. Connect your PEX to one end, and the other end is a threaded female connection where your shower arm will screw in later. Now for the moment of truth. Before you close up the wall, you need to pressure test everything. Put the cap on the shower arm outlet or install a test plug so water doesn't spray everywhere. Slowly turn your main water supply back on. I mean slowly. Let the pressure build up gradually while you watch every single connection. Check the hot side inlet, the cold side inlet, and the outlet going up to the shower head. Look for any drips, any weeping, any moisture at all. Run your finger around each connection. If it's bone dry after 5 minutes, you're golden. If you see a drip at a crimp connection, you'll need to cut it out and redo it. If a shark bite is leaking, pull it off. Check for debris or a bad cut and reconnect. Once the valve test's clean, install your shower arm into the drop ear elbow. Wrap the threads with 4 or 5 wraps of Teflon tape going clockwise. Thread it in by hand, then snug it with your pliers. Attach the shower head. Turn the water on and test the valve handle. Hot on the left, cold on the right, and it should mix smoothly across the full range. Let's go over some issues you might run into and how to deal with them. First, if you're getting low water pressure at the shower head, check whether you left a flow restrictor in the shower head itself. Most new shower heads come with one, and while they save water, they can feel weak. Beyond that, make sure you didn't kink any PEX runs. PEX is flexible, but sharp bends will restrict flow. If you need a tight turn, use a 90-degree PEX elbow, fitting instead of bending the pipe. Second, if the handle operates backwards with hot and cold reversed, you installed the hot and cold supply lines on the wrong sides. Swap them at the valve inlets and retest. Third, if you notice a small drip at a crimp fitting, the crimp wasn't tight enough or the ring wasn't positioned correctly. Unfortunately, the only fix is to cut the fitting out and redo the connection with a new crimp ring. Always check crimps with a go-no-go gauge if you have one. Fourth, if the valve seems to stick or is hard to turn, make sure you removed all the packing material or plastic protective inserts that some manufacturers include. I've seen guys fight with a valve for 20 minutes before realizing there was a foam insert still inside the valve body. Fifth, if water is leaking behind the trim plate after everything is finished, the valve body is probably sitting too far forward, or the trim plate gasket isn't sealing against the wall. Recheck your valve depth against the manufacturer's template. All right, here's that bonus tip I mentioned at the beginning. Install water hammer arresters on both the hot and cold lines feeding your shower valve. Water hammer is that loud banging sound you sometimes hear when a valve shuts off quickly. Pressure balancing shower valves are especially prone to causing it because they adjust flow rapidly. A water hammer arrestor is a small device that absorbs that shock. You can get them with PEX compatible connections for about $10 to $15 each. Install one on each supply line within 6 inches of the valve, and you'll protect the valve internals from repeated stress that can wear out the cartridge years before it should. I put these on every shower valve I install, and I've had customers tell me their valves lasted 15+ years without a cartridge replacement. It's a $30 investment that can easily save you $200 or more down the line. Totally worth it. That wraps it up. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams, all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.